we have managed to activate your deactivated account.
Yeah, so for past 2 months, it was deactivated actually.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just we'll start with the conversations. We have Malti. She's from Hyderabad. Recently met her at the winter adventure camp. She was there with her daughter Dia, and it was lovely to meet them. She's from the army. She has an army background. I think she served almost 2 decades back, if I'm right. Uh, and there are many adventures that she has been part of, and we'll talk upon those along with other experiences. So, anything you want to add on from your side on the intro?
No, I think that's perfect.
Okay, okay. So, starting with your army, uh, the time that you worked with the army, uh, was that was that like an instant thought back then when you joined, like when you decided that you want to join, or was there a lot of thinking and thoughts, and there were other options that you were thinking of, and then you decided to join the army?
So when I was in 12th, that's the time when we start thinking, right, what you want to do. So for some reason, I wanted to join the police, and I didn't know how to go about it. But my father, being in army, somewhere I felt that that's one avenue I have to be in some kind of forces. So also, I was so impressed with my father's seeing my father in uniform, the stars that he would wear. So I think right at that age, I had a feeling that this is somewhere I'd like to be. So as early as that.
Right. So it was the sort of the star attraction of the uniform that was the calling,
Yes,
and
yes,
okay. So a lot of people, I would say in the young age, I would say back then they either think of a similar thing that yes, the we want to be in uniform, we want to serve in the army, or either they have some sort of an inclination towards the adventure part of the life, and they want
right.
to see adventures and they want to experience, and then that is what drives them or their journey to then join the army. So for you, was there any hint of uh, attraction towards any sort of adventure sports or anything back then?
No, so I had not really explored that side of me at all. So it was more of olive green which attracted me. It's only later when I started, going towards my goal is when I realized that this is really something that I would like to do. I've seen my father in uniform, but I don't know what happens behind. So I was very curious. So somewhere there, you know, I felt that this is something that I'd like to do. And as the time went by, I realized that adventure is something that I thoroughly enjoy. Actually, to the extent that I tell my husband many times, I would like to quit my job and just do this, do adventurous stuff. So like that.
Right. Right. Okay. Uh, was the journey all smooth? Like when you decided, okay, you want to join the army, you signed up and then you gave the exam and clear. Was it like a smooth sailing or were there challenges and obstacles on the way? Some sort of a resistance, if I can say, for.
Eh, Yeah, I so my father's already had. I mean, he was serving. So for some reason, he discouraged me from joining army. Being a girl was protective. I don't know what to say about that. Actually, I got a call letter the first time I applied, but my father didn't tell me about it. And then my mom was like, yeah, at least defer it. Let's see if we can, she can try it the next time. And interestingly, he told those guys, she can't join this time. And I got a call letter the second time. And then my mom was like she's really going to curse you if you don't tell her this time. And very last day of the, when I had to join SSB for the interview is when just few days before that they reached out and they said, okay, you got a call letter. Do you want to attempt it? I said, oh yes, I'm glad you told me about it. So there was a hesitance from my father. He somewhere felt protected. I don't know what it was. But yeah, that was some kind of a roadblock for me at one point. Yeah.
Did he share any of his apprehensions? Like, has he seen, women serve in the army and has had sort of any experience that that's why he was sort of, holding you back or?
these are just age-old thoughts. When I now talk about it, he is so proud of me. He probably even didn't realize what he was doing. Just not letting me know about it. He probably wasn't even aware that this is something that a girl can explore. It's only when
Right.
after I joined, he realized it was such an important decision of my life, and he's so proud of me till date. I mean, very
Right.
proudly
So
shows.
how has that
Sorry, yeah.
so how has that shaped you? Like how has your experience been with the army for those years? How many years did you serve and how has the experience been?
So I've just served for 5 years, but I'd like to say that I've got a good piece of, understanding of life in army, and I'm so happy that I was there. The amount of respect you get, and there's the decorum, there's respect for each other, and the respect for ranks, and in general, there's discipline. I personally feel that every individual should at least spend a few years in army, and even if that's not possible, they should at least spend few months of training in an officer's academy. It just
Right.
bring you brings you to Mother Earth. Honestly speaking, it just helps you to start from scratch with all your clear thoughts. Somewhere I feel it helps. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Joining army as a woman back then, 2 decades back versus now, I think the roles have sort of changed and the system has, I think evolved for the better.
Right.
What's the difference now?
Um, So back then, it's more than 15 years when I was there. I somewhere felt that army was not really ready for a woman officer being in the units. They were not equipped that well. Honestly, that's my experience. Though the camaraderie and the, like I was saying, the respect for individual, it was quite high, but logistically somewhere they were not prepared. Uh, uh, the time I've seen now, I'm in touch with my course-mates. Some of my course-mates have already, taken up the ranks of colonel. So, and I see them. They are much more comfortable. People and the male officers and the system is more accepting of their, thoughts and opinions, which is way different from how it used to be when I back then, when I was serving. So that way, I
Right. So it has,
think the
yeah.
minds to having a woman officer.
So that has changed over a period of time. How they have people who joined along with you and then now they've seen 15 years
Right.
ahead, things have changed.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So for any young girl out there who's like in that age bracket who qualifies to apply, uh, what would your message for them to would be what to look for when they join the army? What kind of roles would they have now? If you can share a bit on that.
I mean, they can just go for it. They should not be in any hesitation. They should just go for it and experience it the way it is. There's so much learning. Like I was telling you, 5 years looks like a very short period, but there's so much I was exposed to. I was
Right.
posted. I was posted in Gaya and Bangalore in training establishment. There was so much learning there. Then one of my postings was in Leh, which is a high altitude area. What are the chances that you get an exposure like this in a civil job? If you
Right.
are an adventurous person, you should go for it. Even otherwise, there's just a lot of learning there in that institute. Job roles wise, there are a lot of things they can go for. There is Army Service Corps, there is education, there is JAG branch, which is related to law. There are a lot of options. Intelligence. So you
Right.
just have to apply and just go for it. I mean, not think too much. Bottom line.
So your adventure activities or your main interest and your sort of participation in now being physically active, I would say, started a bit from the army. That was the sort of the
Definitely.
starting point.
Yes. In academies, when I realized that I'm a good runner, and somewhere along the way, I felt that this is something I need to pursue. So that just kept on building, and I ventured into other things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So coming to adventures, what all have you done, and what have been the highlights? If I
Okay.
ask.
So, I'm not a big shot or anything,
Yeah.
just basic. I've been running half marathons all along. Then I went for a half marathon to Antarctica. Then a trek with boots and crampons. There was a winter camp that happened again with boots and crampons. Recently, I was telling you, right? I did a skydive, tandem skydive with the help of a trainer. So these are some of the adventures that I've tried to do and
Okay.
successfully done.
So we'll touch upon a few of these that you have done, along with BNC and also, otherwise, because your Antarctica one is a very interesting one, and I think that's something that generally when people would think of the name Antarctica, there would be a lot of questions sort of coming, okay, how and when and why, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So your climb, your friendship peak was recently, was after Antarctica?
Oh, yes, that's right. So January 2020, sorry, oh yeah, 22 is when I had done my Antarctica, and after that I went for Friendship Peak along with my 9-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that also one is a bigger factor because I think you back then when you joined the army, you were I would say among the rare few who as women who were joining the army, and also you now as a mother is taking sort of encouraging your child to be part of activities that a lot of people don't really go for.
Yeah.
They don't think that these are, climbing a 5,200-meter peak with sort of professional mountaineering equipment is not what today a lot of parents would imagine their 9-year or 10-year-old would be doing.
Right.
So, how did that go? Like, was that your initiation, or was that, Dia wanted to be like, okay, mom, I want to do this?
So, like I said, I had already got the streak of adventure and running. Somewhere I found a beautiful world there, and I personally wanted my children to get exposed to that. For me, actually, studies took a backseat with respect to the kids. I felt that understanding life, understanding life skills is way more important than anything else. So that was always in my mind that I would like my kids to get into this field, understand this, get adventurous, and do these things. So with Dia, she was for when she turned 7, 8, I had this thought that I need to take her somewhere, but it just didn't work out because my husband is in merchant navy. He keeps sailing, and when he comes back, he doesn't want to travel. So I kept hanging on to him. Ki, Acha, wo aayega, so we'll together do this. But it was just not happening. I said now I just cannot waste more time on waiting on for him. Took a decision that Dia is somebody, and I've seen that streak in Dia. She likes adventure. She's a risk taker. I said I cannot lose this opportunity. I got to know about Friendship Week, so I took her with me. Like I was mentioning, she didn't even have the right gear with her, but we managed, and we did quite well actually. She did amazingly well. So um, I was telling, right, my parents, my friends, they were all discouraging me because the cold is not normal, right? At that high altitude, it's quite difficult. So they were like, why would you attempt something like that? I said, why not? And they didn't really have an answer to that. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, so it's a similar kind of a resistance that you faced when you were starting your journey back 15 years back, and also sort of Dia, but not resistance really, because here her mom is sort of hand-holding and sort of accompanying her with the activities.
Yeah.
But I think around people around in the circle, in the sort of the social circle, if you can say, they are, I would say, a bit apprehensive about that.
Mhm.
Now, has that after the climb, after you did that, has that changed? Are people now around sort of more open that okay, maybe our kids can also go?
Yes, actually, many of the family members here and people have approached me, just got inspired with what I have done, and have planned such, adventures to say or trips with the kids. I know of people who actually felt that this is not possible. But when they saw that, if a 9-year-old can do it and it's just me going with her, it's not even, a whole family or known people. We were going with all new people, right? So when it really inspired them, and many of them who I know of have actually taken up such trips since then. And very often they keep saying, you've inspired us. Dia, you have inspired us. So that's how it has been.
So for now, I mean, the kind of activities you've done, they're like a mix of it. Like you've climbed a mountain, you've maybe you've trekked, you've been part of the camp, you've run a marathon in a very remote continent. Is there anything else in mountaineering that you've thought of that, yes, I would like to, after Friendship Peak, I would like to do this?
So see, trekking and hiking is going to be with us for sure. Like I was reaching out to Romil too to find, what's the next that you have on your agenda. So that's something definitely I'm going to continue. Scuba diving is something I have on my mind. I'll be probably going in for that apart from trekking and hiking. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. So for people who don't know about the Friendship Peak, I'll just give a brief. And it's a peak in the Manali region, and it's about 5,200 plus meters high. It in terms of altitude, it may not sound a lot, but it does have certain technicalities, which I think, yes, it's not that you really need a lot of high sort of skills or experience to do it, but yes, certain fitness level, I would say, would be needed to do something like that, because it's a considerable effort from the base camp to the summit, right? Uh,
Yes. So I've been into fitness since my army days. So I didn't really do anything separate for the trek. But yeah, I would suggest for people who are new to trekking and hiking, I mean, they should prepare. It does take it takes a little bit of physical effort that definitely is there. Yeah.
right. Have you done a course, like any sort of basic mountaineering course or anything to for something like this? No.
No, no.
But yeah, but a basic fitness level or being active consistently would be an important part to do something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Coming to uh, your Antarctica, which was actually the year before. I think any year before, a couple of years before.
No, in last year itself, January
Oh,
last 20.
right. Okay. So that was, I think that was, I would say, right after the COVID wave got over, and it was like sort of still
No, no, no.
people were sort of coming.
It's middle of it. Literally, when Omicron and Delta variant were on, that's when that whole expedition or the trip was. It was
Oh,
an
right.
18 days trip. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So what led you to think of, okay, running a marathon in Antarctica? What is like a banner you saw somewhere, or has it been in the mind from before and you were planning it?
So my friend there were two couples who had come with me. I went solo, so they kept mentioning about it last to last year, and they booked. You just cannot do a marathon in Antarctica. You have to book 2 years in advance. So they booked somewhere in 2016, 2017, and because of COVID and other reason, it kept getting postponed. So finally, it was decided that it will be done in 2022. And so while I was talking to them, and they mentioned this, and I was just casually telling my husband, and he knows that I'm kind of adventure buff. So he said, "Why don't you go for it?" I said, "Oh yeah, why not? Just fund me, and I'll go for it." So that's how it all started, and then yeah.
Okay. So and then if you can just guide through the journey, like how do you get there from the signing up process, and then what's sort of the time frame that you see from applying and then probably traveling from India all the way to Antarctica? How does that happen?
Right. So I can only talk about the trip that I had taken. So we had gone through an agency, Marathon Tours and Travel. I think that was the name. And I registered just 2 months before it, and it takes about 2 months for your to get up your fitness level, and then plan your gear, and then apply for visa and all that. For me, it was I traveled from just to avoid immigration related issues, because it was in the midst of COVID that I was doing, and there were a lot of regulations. I wanted to avoid, have, having any friction through immigration. So we flew from based out of Hyderabad. From Hyderabad, we went to Abu Dhabi. From there to Amsterdam. Amsterdam to Argentina, Buenos Aires, and the southern part of Argentina or South America is there's a city called Ushuaia. So from there we took a cruise, 2 day cruise, which is for like if you go to and fro to
Right.
Antarctica. So that was the route that we had taken, and I felt that that was the easiest and the shortest because generally if you go via Australia or New Zealand or any other way, the cruise will time will extend, and it's a very tough passage. You'll go through a lot of health challenges, seasickness, and other things. So
Right.
the shortest route would be this, going via Ushuaia.
Right. So the temperature keeps sort of changing. Like when you get down from Argentina, is it like already that sort of a temperature that you would come across to Antarctica, or is it does it keeps getting colder as you are in the sea?
No, no, it's pretty cold in Ushuaia. It is in minus, and then it just carries on. Once you're in Antarctica, it's again in minus temperature. Yeah. So,
I saw the
but
picture. It looked like a. Sorry, Canyon.
yeah, no, I was saying that thankfully we chose a date when it was sunny, and we picked up a patch where it was less of snow, so that the run is easy for us. Yeah, you were saying.
Okay, so you can choose, where you want to run, or do they have like a decided course that you this is the
20
place you run?
27th of Jan was the actual date when we were supposed to run. They checked the weather forecast and stuff, and they said let's just wait for a day, one more day, because we were on the cruise itself. It's not that we got off the cruise. We stay in the cruise every day. We come out, visit all the islands, and then we go back to the cruise, right? So
Right.
so that's how it was done.
Okay, so the weather it keeps is it so unpredictable over there? Like you do you have I know you run in the season when it's sort of summers in Antarctica. Uh, but
I went summers in Antarctica. Still, there
yeah,
is snow and glaciers and everything.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
temperature was considerably okay. We were wearing 4 to 5, layers. But yeah, when we were running, we were just having two layers. But it is in minus temperature, so no. Even
right,
the day we ran, it was about -3, -4. Even though it was a sunny day. So
right.
yeah.
And how many people take part generally?
So we were across the world. There were about 200 who had registered. I think about sorry, I'm not getting it right. About 150 who had registered, and about 20 of them had to drop off because of COVID. Along the way, many of them fell sick, and there were a lot of antigen tests and RT-PCRs which are done, and the numbers kept coming down. So ultimately, we were about 130 odd who were able to make it for the run.
Right. And any sort of different sort of preparations that you were doing when you left from India, or was it just regular training and running that you were doing?
Yeah. So, like I said, I keep my basic fitness level at one particular, state so that it doesn't drop down, and then I don't have to work hard too much if there is a trek or anything or a run coming up.
Right.
For people who are new, obviously they have to train. It's better to train. Also, who's trying to have some timelines for the run. They're trying to do get some PBs or in Antarctica. I think it's best that they practice and train before they go. Otherwise, keeping a good fitness level, just doing the basic physical activity. Like there's an agenda. I mean, agenda as in there's a calendar that you can maintain and practice accordingly. And I think it's much doable. It's not that difficult as such.
Okay. All right. Uh, Coming to the camp that you were a part of, the winter camp that happened for kids, was that again sort of your initiation, or was Dia she was the one sort of leading this time that no, I want to go into?
It's both. So she after the trek she got that high. She knew that this is something that she really likes. So she kept asking me, what are we doing next? and I kept searching boots and crampons website to see what is the what is the next thing that I can do along with the. So that's when I got to know about the winter camp. So again, there was a lot of hesitance, resistance, all kinds of things from my family who was like, why would you do a winter camp? I mean, why would you do that? That too in Kangra, in, such cold temperature. So the moment I said, I told Dia, this is what I'm thinking. She says, yes, we'll do it. So she's up for anything. I just have to name it and she's ready.
Yeah, that's a different kind of energy. I think that I've seen in India, and also most of the kids that they were there in the camp because they were sort of drawing things from each other and sort of So I think that was one very inspiring part. How do you think these two experiences of climbing the peak in year before and this one has sort of changed Dia in any way? Do you see some sort of a behavior or uh, any observation from you as a mom?
Uh, Actually, this is an interesting topic. I can just go on forever, but I'll keep it limited. Um, I will not say any drastic changes that I've seen in India, but I know there are a lot of subtle changes which will make a lot of difference in her, as the life to come for her. Um, so, see, the first trek that we had done was one of the reasons was also this that we had just been through COVID, and somewhere I felt that the children, everybody are stuck up, in the house. They needed to step out, and so I felt that Dia needed it because my husband used to sail, I work, my elder one is in basketball full fledged, so she's busy. So Dia was somewhere, by herself, which wasn't fair is what I felt. And I felt that, I shouldn't be wasting too much time on figuring it out. I said, I need to do something with her, which will help her a little more, socialize, come out of her, whatever discomfort she's gone through this COVID time, because we don't know how psychologically it has impacted families, people, kids, So the trek was amazing. The first day when Dia went for the trek, she was hesitant, she was crying, she was halfway up the hill and she was crying. She just kept saying, I want to go back to my tents. I can see the tent. I want to go back. She was so fearful. Uh, and once she reached the top of that hill that we were climbing, she totally forgot about all that, drama that she had done. She was just so happy that she had, made it. And the next day onward, it was so easy on me. She didn't complain and she just went on. I mean, seeing the resilient characters of these kids was amazing there. So somewhere, it has helped her to understand that, obstacles are temporary and that she can go beyond it. Now, when I talk about trekking, I often tell her, I think we need to take our cousins, we need to take our friends. And I said, we'll have to look after them. They may not know how to do this hikes and treks and all that. She said, don't worry, I'll handle it. I'll tell them. So there's some kind of a maturity that I see in her, and she's not scared. Even the winter camp that we did, there was one part where when she had to jump into really cold water, all the kids had to do it. She did it. She came halfway through, and I just looked at her, and I knew she was not comfortable. But she gave me this. I don't know if any of you observed. She just told me, no, don't come for help. Don't come to help me. And she then completed her swim. So, like I said, it's a very vast subject for me, but there are subtle changes that I see in her, and I know it's going to definitely help her.
Yeah, I think that that's so fascinating because I observed that even with the other kids, like a lot of them were not able to sleep the first night because we are not, it's not our bed at home. We can't go to the bathroom because it's not our bathroom. But
Yeah.
then when you're there, sort of put through that those I would say slightly uncomfortable, harsher situations, but still sort of taking care of the safety part. I think something else comes out on the other end. I think
Yes.
none of them went back saying that, oh, we are tired, we're not going to come back. Everyone was like, what is next? Like, we want to do this. I think, I
Everybody was very
think,
happy.
yeah, I think Dia was only cold when she was initially the first day when we were, I think doing the river crossing is then when she got a bit, sort of,
Yes.
scared because the water was a bit deep. But then I think she bounced back so quickly on the last, the sort of the second last day when the swim part was there. That suddenly then now you're telling me, which is right. I didn't observe. I think I was probably I have
She
the
just
video probably.
she's still like, no, 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 no. Don't come to help me. I want to finish this on my own.
Right,
Yeah.
right, fantastic. So is there a list that you have like this is the multi list of activities you want to do and this is multi and Dia list that you want to do.
I want her to do everything that I'm doing. I'd like to do it with her. But there are few things which she's at this point not ready for. Like I have plans of, doing walks or treks of, not really treks, runs of 30 odd kilometers, a little more maybe. She's not
Right.
for that, trail runs and all. So those are few things that I would want to do. EBC was on my mind. That again is one of the bucket list items. There are a few more like that. For
Right.
Dia, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot for her. Now I know that this is something that we both enjoy. So there are going to be many of them now.
What is she looking for? So she's done a 5,000 plus meter peak. She's done the camp. What is she thinking next?
Yeah, oh, no, okay. So I have to correct you there. For Friendship Peak, we went up till 4,200. We weren't really prepared to go till the peak because I wasn't sure, if she can take the cold and all that. So due to some reason, we had to stop at 4,200 only. Yeah, but otherwise, like I told you, Chetan, her mental setup is such that she does not say no to any of these thrilling activities or adventures. She just says yes. So I just have to tell her, this is what we are doing. She's like, okay, let's do it. And then she starts planning, how are we going to travel? What are the things we're going to carry? So see, this is also one of the things. She's become very organized about what she wants to do, how she wants to do, what are the things that are. Interestingly, Chetan, I would like to add, during the friendship peak trek, I mean, we generally say that, I took care of my child. It was the other way around too. She also took care of me. There were things that I was forgetting, and she kept telling me, okay, this is where this is it.
Wow.
This is how you need to do it. So some lot of beautiful things which came out through this whole adventure of ours, actually.
It sort of puts you. So if you, as I would say, I want to end the conversation by asking you, your message to people on why they should be part of such adventures, or I would say, physical activities. But I would start with talking about kids because you were talking about Dia. I think that's one part that it really brings out in you early on in life when you're part of such adventures and you are thrown in sort of situations which are outside your comfort zones. Certain aspects of organizing and being sort of collecting things and it comes together. Is that happen? Anything else you want to add to that?
Okay, I think I'll probably bucket it into two or three segments. See, physically, a child opens up and it really gets to know his or her own capability, and nothing better than this because the nature takes over and you will not hold back and you'll do it. And once you do it, the thrill, keeps you going for it again and again, and you will ensure that you are physically fit. For a child, to that applies, right? Mentally also, I keep referring to COVID because I know that a lot of families have been through things, parents, adults, children. Somewhere I feel not only COVID related, otherwise also psychologically, even if a parent or a child feels, there is somewhere they're lagging, there cannot be anything better than doing something adventurous, something in nature. I mean, it's just the place to be. It'll just open you up, and I have personal experience of that. So these are two things. And otherwise, while you're doing this, there are many other smaller things that you start, sorting out in your life to get this right. And somewhere you kind of streamline your life with such adventures.
Right.
Yeah.
It's I would say it's slightly it's difficult. It's not I wouldn't say easy, but Dia is very fortunate in to have you as a mom who's sort of helping her guide her through the journey. A lot of adults, I would say adults who have gone through the COVID phase have also been through the similar phase of a lot of inactivity and more health concerns and everything. And they somehow because of their you can say work commitments or the new habit that has come in, they are unable to sort of break from those, shackles and go out and experience things. And they haven't seen this part of life maybe. We saw suddenly when the lockdown got over, suddenly people were rushing out because they wanted to get out of their homes and just plan random holidays and just land up somewhere. But how would physical activity suddenly, I would say, help you channelize things better?
Yes, that is right. Right. See, holidaying will go on. We want to see this, we want to do that, we want to go to the beach. It'll go on. It just becomes meaningful when you club that with something that um, grooms you as a person. It just adds value to the whole trip to you. I somehow look at it like that. Trips can always happen, but for a child, I feel that this is an area which needs to be enhanced. Life skills, and what better than doing something adventurous? It's like a quick fix. It's like a shortcut to improving your life in a very short period. You can't take ages to improve your life or enhance it. So adventure is a shortcut.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that was a fantastic conversation. I think I was able to find a lot of answers myself for a lot of things. And thank you for sharing your insights. A bit enlightened today. So thank you for joining us, and thank you everyone else for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday with another guest. Thanks, Malti. See you.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.